Hey everyone, and welcome back to Talk Tickers. We're diving deep into Unity Software's Q4 2024 earnings call today.
Always an interesting one.
Yeah, it seems like they're really shaking things up. I mean, AI for their ad platform and pushing further into industries outside of gaming.
Definitely some bold moves.
So let's start with the basics. How did they actually perform in Q4? Did they hit their numbers?
Oh, they did. They actually exceeded expectations, both on revenue and adjusted EBIT.
EBITDA.
Yeah, basically it's a way to look at profitability without all the accounting jargon, you know?
Got it. So exceeding expectations, that's great. But where are they really shining? And are there any areas where they're facing challenges?
Well, one of the most impressive things is their performance outside of gaming. We're talking their industry segment. Includes things like automotive and military applications.
Right.
In that segment, the revenue grew by like 50%.
50%.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And they scored some major new clients, Toyota and Raytheon, for example.
Toyota and Raytheon. That's pretty interesting. What are those companies doing with Unity?
Well, think about the interactive displays you see in modern cars. Toyota's using Unity to create that next-gen experience for their interfaces.
Ah, that makes sense.
And for Raytheon, they're using it for things like factory layout simulations in 3D and facility planning.
So it's not just about making things look pretty. It's actually about functionality and creating these interactive 3D environments for some pretty serious applications.
Exactly. And that's what's so interesting here. Unity's really moving beyond just gaming. It's becoming an essential tool for businesses across a ton of different industries.
So they're branching out, but they're not leaving gaming behind, are they?
Definitely not. I mean, they're still the top game engine globally.
Yes.
Especially in the mobile gaming market. But this success they're seeing in other sectors, that's what's getting everyone excited.
It's almost like they're setting the stage for the metaverse, right? That whole idea of interconnected virtual worlds that we've been hearing so much about.
Yeah, it's a compelling idea, and Unity is in a great position to play a major role if the metaverse does take off. Their platform could be what everyone uses to build those immersive experiences.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think about. Okay, so non-gaming growth is strong, but I know there have been some challenges with their advertising business.
That's right. Their growth segment, which includes ads, did exceed expectations in Q4, but it's not growing as fast as they'd like to see.
Okay.
And that's why they're making this big move with a new AI-powered ad platform. They're calling it Unity Vector.
Unity Vector. So AI for ads. That's a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
What's so different about Unity Vector? What sets it apart from what's already out there?
Well, Unity has access to a ton of data. We're talking millions of daily active users interacting with their runtime all over the world. Unity Vector taps into that data using self-learning AI models.
Wow.
It analyzes player behavior, and it does it in real time to try and optimize ad performance. It's all about better results for advertisers.
So they're creating a smarter ad platform, one that learns from player data. But is that data really enough to give them an advantage, especially with how crowded the ad tech space already is? I mean, Google and Facebook have been collecting user data for years.
That's a good point. It's definitely a competitive market. But Unity does have a unique advantage here. Their data is focused specifically on player behavior within games and 3D environments.
So it's not just about how much data, it's about having the right data, the data that's relevant.
Exactly. And Unity really believes that the insights from their data, combined with the power of AI, will help them create this next-generation ad platform.
So Unity Vector, it's their big bet on the future of their ad business, but they're also making some changes to how they guide investors, right?
Right. They've decided to shift from annual guidance to quarterly guidance. Pretty big change.
Why a shift?
Seems like it's because of the fast pace of change in their business, especially with the ad platform and the overall mobile advertising landscape. They're aiming for more transparency, more frequent updates for investors.
Makes sense. I mean, things can change quickly.
Absolutely. And with such a bold new strategy like Unity Vector, they really want to keep investors informed every step of the way.
But this new platform, it's not a quick fix, right? They're expecting some bumps in the road as they transition.
Yeah, they've said that there will be some disruption to their ad revenue in the short term as they move over to Unity Vector. It's going to take time to fully integrate and optimize the platform. They're being cautious and upfront about the challenges.
So a bit of a wait-and-see situation.
Yeah.
The next few quarters will be crucial for them, but they're not just sitting back and waiting for the ad platform to take off, are they?
No, not at all. They're pursuing other revenue streams. Their subscription business is growing rapidly, especially in those non-gaming sectors, and they're implementing strategic price increases for some of their higher-tier customers.
So a multi-pronged approach to growth.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to make tough decisions when they have to.
Absolutely. They're playing the long game here, willing to make short-term sacrifices to achieve their long-term goals.
This is all really fascinating. Before we move on, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, this idea of Unity becoming the Shopify of the metaverse. That's a pretty bold statement. What makes you think they can pull that off?
Well, think about Shopify and what they do. They provide a platform that lets anyone create and run an online store. It makes e-commerce accessible. Unity could do that same thing for the metaverse. They could provide the tools and infrastructure for anyone to create and share those immersive 3D experiences.
So instead of selling physical goods, we'd be selling virtual experiences, digital assets. That opens up a lot of possibilities.
Exactly. Think virtual real estate, digital fashion, in-game items, and all sorts of digital goods and services. And Unity, with its easy-to-use platform and that vast developer community, could be at the center of it all.
It's pretty mind-boggling to think about. But let's be realistic. The metaverse is still largely a hypothetical concept. There's no guarantee it will ever become mainstream.
True, there's a lot of uncertainty, but that's the nature of these new technologies. It's about potential, it's about possibilities. And if you look at what Unity's doing, it's clear that they are betting big on the metaverse.
They're definitely not just dipping their toes in the water. More like diving head first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're making strategic investments, building partnerships, trying to position themselves as a leader in this space, something investors should definitely be watching closely.
This has been super insightful. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
Glad to be here. It's exciting to see a company like Unity really pushing the boundaries and exploring new frontiers.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our deep dive into Unity's Q4 earnings call. We'll explore some of the key takeaways and what they mean for investors. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back, and we're digging deeper into Unity Software's Q4 2024 earnings call. Before the break, we were talking about this idea of Unity becoming the Shopify of the metaverse, and I gotta say, it's a pretty intriguing concept.
Yeah, it really makes you think. If they can actually make it so anyone can build those immersive experiences as easily as creating an online store with Shopify, we could see some big changes in how we interact with digital content.
It's like we're on the edge of this whole new digital frontier. And Unity, with their 3D engine and their massive developer community, could be leading the way.
It's a fascinating idea, but for now, let's maybe bring it back down to earth for a minute. Let's focus on some of the key takeaways from their earnings call. One that stood out to me was their decision to raise prices for their pro and enterprise customers.
That's a pretty bold move, especially in a market that's so competitive.
It is, but I think it shows their confidence in the value they're offering, basically saying, our platform is worth it.
Do you think they're right to be that confident? I mean, they're facing competition from other game engines, and there are always new players coming into the market.
They definitely have challenges ahead. But they also have this strong track record, a huge user base, and their platform is constantly evolving. I think those price increases, even though they might cause some issues in the short term, could really help them financially in the long run, give them the resources to invest more in research and development.
That makes sense. It's about finding that balance between short-term and long-term success. And speaking of long-term, let's talk about their investment in AI and machine learning. They're clearly betting big on these technologies for their future.
For sure. They're not just thinking about AI for their ad platform either. They see it as crucial to their entire ecosystem. They think AI is going to completely change how we create and experience interactive 3D content.
It's pretty amazing to think about the possibilities, but AI is also really complex. Do you think they have what it takes to actually become a leader in AI?
Well, they're certainly not backing down from the challenge. They've been hiring a lot of top people in AI and machine learning. They're forming partnerships with leading research institutions.
So they're being proactive. They're not just waiting around for the AI revolution to happen. They want to be a part of making it happen.
Exactly, and that's what's really key here. Unity isn't content with just being a successful game engine company. They want to be at the forefront of innovation, pushing the boundaries of interactive 3D experiences across all kinds of industries.
That's a pretty ambitious vision.
Yeah.
But if they can actually achieve it, the payoff could be huge. They could really become a dominant force in the tech world.
There's no doubt the stakes are high. And there's a lot of competition out there, but they're going for it. They're not afraid to take risks, and that's what makes them so interesting to follow.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about their strong financial performance, their move with Unity Vector, their success outside of gaming, their focus on AI, and of course, their ambition to be a major player in the metaverse.
It's a really compelling story, full of potential, but also uncertainty. One thing's for sure, though, Unity is definitely a company worth keeping an eye on.
Absolutely. So, before we wrap up, let's have a little fun here. Let's dive into the "This is not financial advice" segment, you know, where we brainstorm some crazy, but maybe, just maybe plausible, trade ideas based on what Unity's doing. Remember, everyone, this is purely hypothetical, just for fun, not financial advice.
Disclaimer delivered.
Perfect. So let's say Unity really does become the Shopify of the metaverse that we've been talking about. What are some wild, totally speculative plays that come to mind?
Well, if we're really going full on speculation mode, I think we can go beyond virtual land. Everyone's talking about that already. What about the creators themselves? If Unity's platform becomes the foundation for the metaverse, wouldn't the developers, the ones who really know how to use Unity, wouldn't they become incredibly valuable?
So you're thinking, instead of buying virtual land, we're investing in the people building on that land, finding talented Unity developers, maybe even backing startups focused on creating unique metaverse experiences.
Exactly. Imagine a world where the most sought-after job isn't a software engineer at Google, but a metaverse architect, someone who builds those immersive worlds on Unity. We could see a whole new generation of entrepreneurs and creators flocking to the platform.
It's like the Wild West of the digital world. And with every gold rush, there are chances to strike it rich. But it's not just about the creators themselves, is it? There's a whole ecosystem that could develop around this Unity-powered metaverse.
Absolutely. Think about all the tools and services these creators are going to need. 3D modeling software, animation tools, sound design platforms. The demand for those could just explode. And then what about marketing and advertising in the metaverse? That's a whole new world waiting to be explored.
So you're saying a metaverse marketing agency, putting up virtual billboards in virtual cities, sponsoring in-game events. It's mind-blowing.
And it goes beyond just advertising. Think about things like education and training. If the metaverse becomes a big part of our lives, people will need platforms to learn new skills, connect with each other, even do business. Companies that create educational and training content for the metaverse could see huge growth.
So we're buying stock in virtual universities, funding the development of interactive training simulations. This is getting really meta.
It is, and while it's all super speculative, it's fascinating to think about the potential impact if Unity is successful. If their platform becomes the foundation for the metaverse, it could create this entirely new economy. So many opportunities for innovation and entrepreneurship.
All right, we've had our fun speculating, but let's come back to reality for a moment. It's really important to remember that the metaverse is still in its very early stages. No guarantee it will ever be as widely adopted as we've been imagining.
Very true. Like any new technology, there are risks. There's uncertainty. But that's also what makes it exciting. We're seeing something new being created, something that could change everything, and Unity is right there, leading the way.
Well said. And that's a great place to end it for today. Remember, this is Talk Tickers, your guide to the world of earnings calls and the companies shaping the future. We've taken you deep into Unity software, looking at their financials, their strategy, and their potential role in the metaverse.
We hope you enjoyed the deep dive.
As always, do your own research, make smart investment decisions, and join us next time when we'll be exploring another company that's pushing the boundaries of innovation. Until then, keep exploring. Okay, so we've talked about their financials, how they're going all in on AI, and this idea of them playing a big role in the metaverse. A lot to unpack with Unity.
Yeah, for sure. It's clear they're not content with just being a gaming company anymore.
Yeah, they're aiming to be a real force in the tech world as a whole. And you know what? That leads us right into our "This is not financial advice" segment, where we get to just let loose and throw out some crazy, maybe plausible trade ideas based on where Unity's headed. And of course, just to remind everyone, this is all hypothetical, purely for fun, and definitely not actual financial advice.
Always got to make sure we say that. So where should we even start with a company like Unity? They've got their hands in so many things.
Well, we keep coming back to this metaverse idea, right? And how Unity could be the platform that powers it all. So let's just assume for a minute that it happens, that virtual worlds really do become the next big thing. What kind of wild trade ideas can we come up with in that scenario?
Okay, so full-on speculation mode. I think we can go even further than the virtual land idea. We've talked about that already. What about investing in the creators themselves? If Unity's platform becomes the foundation for the metaverse, wouldn't the people who really know how to build on it, the developers, become super valuable?
Oh, I see where you're going with this. So instead of virtual real estate, we're investing in the people who build on that real estate. We're looking for talented Unity developers, maybe even funding startups that are building unique metaverse experiences.
Exactly. Imagine a future where the hottest job isn't being a software engineer at Google, it's being a metaverse architect, someone who designs and builds those immersive worlds on Unity. We could see this whole waves of entrepreneurs and creators jumping onto the
It
platform.
would be like a digital gold rush.
Yeah.
And we know with every gold rush, there's opportunity to make some serious money. But it's not just about the creators, right? We'd see a whole ecosystem develop around a Unity-powered metaverse.
Oh, absolutely. Think about all the tools and services they'd need. 3D modeling software, animation tools, sound design platforms. Demand for those could just skyrocket.
Yeah.
And what about marketing and advertising in the metaverse? That's a whole new
A
frontier.
metaverse marketing agency, placing virtual billboards in virtual cities, sponsoring in-game events.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and it's more than just advertising, too. Think about education and training. If the metaverse becomes a major part of our lives, people will need ways to learn new skills, connect with each other, even conduct business there. Companies creating educational and training content for the metaverse, they could see some massive growth.
So buying stock in virtual universities, funding the development of interactive training simulations, it's getting meta, literally.
It really is, and I know it's all super speculative, but it's just fascinating to think about what could happen if Unity is successful. If they really do become the foundation of the metaverse, it could create this entire new economy with so many new opportunities.
All right, that was fun. But back to reality for a second. We have to remember, the metaverse is still in its early stages. No guarantee it will ever be as big as we're imagining.
True. Like with any new technology, there's always risk, always uncertainty. But that's what makes it exciting. We're watching something new being created, something that could change everything. And Unity is right there at the forefront of it all.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's a great place to wrap things up. Thanks for joining us on Talk Tickers, your guides at earnings calls and the company shaping the future. We took a deep dive into Unity software today, looking at their performance, their strategy, and their potential role in shaping the metaverse. We hope you enjoyed it. And as always, remember to do your own research, invest wisely, and stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll be exploring another fascinating company at the cutting edge of innovation. Until then, keep exploring.